Hello, this is Jorge Palacios from Iron Film Productions. With the release of The Dark Knight, my first thought was, what Bat-villain should Christopher Nolan tackle next? This is my own editing exercise, featuring who should be the next Bat-villains, and the actors who should portray them. First off, an honorable mention. Pamela Isley, also known as Poison Ivy. She's a very interesting character, a lover of plants whose power relies on poisonous blood and skin. She can also control those plants she loves, and use them for deadly purposes. You could say she was the main villain in The Happening. Now, in the realistic world created by Christopher Nolan, this villain could be a stretch. However, they should just use her just to erase her previous appearance in Batman and Robin, ditch the crazy nymphomania and concentrate on her tragic upbringing and origin, and her passion for mutant plants could make for some cool fights. My cast pick is Vera Farmiga from The Departed. Very mature and intelligent actress who could bring Pamela Isley's tragedy and psychotic mind into reality. Plus, she already looks good in red and green. Alright, on to the countdown. Number 10, Oswald Cobblepot, aka the Penguin. He's one of my favorite Bat-villains, mainly because he's fat, but he could also kick the Batman's ass. I personally love the Burgess Meredith version from the 60s, and I guess Danny DeVito did make an okay interpretation. However, I believe that if it made him truer to the comics, the Godfather mob boss of Gotham City, he could be a very cool character. Plus, he's got those great killer parasols. My cast pick would be Joe Pesci, since he's short, tough, has a high-pitched penguin-like voice, and is a master at playing mob bosses. Number 9, it's Harley Quinn. Now, I know that with the death of Heath Ledger, this is a big stretch, but there is one way she could appear, as a psychiatrist who studies the Joker's case and becomes something of a psychotic copycat criminal. Harley Quinn first appeared on the 90s animated series as a side character, but people loved her so much in fact that they included her in the comic storyline. Again, probably won't happen, just wishful thinking. My cast pick would be Natalie Portman. She's hot, athletic, and has the talent to play an obsessed psychopath. Plus, could you imagine her in the Harley costume? Wow! Number 8, I'm gonna go with Killer Croc. This is another character that might be too far-fetched for Nolan's realistic world, but still, this guy's given Batman some very cool battles, and he would be an incredible visual. My opinion, they should make him like a thug for hire, like in the animated series, perhaps hired by our Godfather Penguin. As far as casting goes, I'd probably make him completely CGI, but with the voice of Ron Perlman. He could play a streetwise thug any day. Number 7 would be that king of cool, Mr. Freeze. If there is one character that is begging for a Nolan redo, it's this guy, especially after being played by you-know-who. Take his tragic origin from the animated series, make him dead serious, and you got yourself a character that could be as cool as Darth Vader. My cast pick would be Jeremy Sisto, a not-so-famous character actor with a lot of talent and a very interesting voice. Take off the body hair, and he could play an excellent Mr. Freeze. 6th in our countdown is someone who's not so famous, Black Mask. Like the Penguin, this guy would be nothing but a very cool crime boss, but his tragic origins, a deformed rich boy who makes a mask out of the coffin of his beloved wife, and transforms himself into an underground kingpin, would be perfect for a Nolan picture. My cast pick would be Jeremy Piven. He's normally known for comedy, but his role in Smoking Aces has made me think that he could play a pretty good psychopath. Number 5 would be Selina Kyle, Catwoman. Now, the farther I go into this article, the more I realize I'm tired of Catwoman. Julie Newmar, Lee Merriweather, and Eartha Kitt played her in the 60s, and Michelle Pfeiffer pretty much defined that character in Batman Returns. And then there's... Do we really need a third big-budget version of her within 20 years? Maybe when you look at the picture above. She's a really cool character, a difficult love interest for Batman, and a purveyor of pretty cool fights. Give me some purple thighs and a couple of quality pussy jokes, and I might still check it out. My cast pick would be Jessica Biel. Do I really need to say anything here? Number 4 would be Hush, also known as Dr. Thomas Elliot, if only for a storyline that surrounds him, which happens to be one of my favorite stories ever. The only problem with that is the storyline involves basically every character on this list, and Superman, Nightwing, and Robin's corpse. A little much for one movie. Hell, for even 2 or 3. My cast, Kurt fucking Russell. The Riddler comes in at number 3. Now, this is a very interesting character, mainly because he's so smart that he's an egomaniac. He could easily get away with all of his crimes if it wasn't for the fact that he has to leave clues out for some obsessive compulsive psychosis in himself that always gets him caught. I love Frank Gorshin's interpretation in the 60s, and Jim Carrey was also pretty good, and very similar to Frank Gorshin. Make him less goofy and moral and obsessed intellectual, and you've got yourself a villain. My pick would be Dexter himself, Michael C. Hall. Second to none is Deadshot, aka Floyd Lawton. He started out as a film vigilante who just got his ass repeatedly kicked by Batman, but in my opinion he could be a great opposite to Christian Bale, who abhors the use of guns. Now, he's appeared in Gotham Knights animated feature, but he could still make a pretty kick-ass villain in the Nolan series. I'm giving it to Doc Jones. And now for number 1, the head honcho of the villains. Who could it be, you ask? Well, it's Bane. That's right, Bane. If you know me, you know that I have a passion for Mexican wrestlers, so to you, this should be no-brainer. Let's forget his interpretation in Batman and Robin for a few minutes, the idiot henchman, and make him more like he is in the comics, an intellectual, with super strength that gets enhanced by the drug Venom. Think of it for a moment, a clash between the Dark Knight and this drugged-up monstrosity. May I remind you that Bane is the only villain who has actually incapacitated the Dark Knight? It's an obvious choice. Bane should be the next Bat-villain, and if you don't agree, you can kiss my ass. Who should play him? I honestly don't know. I can't think of any wrestlers or muscle men that can actually act, but I'm sure Nolan can solve this problem. Well, that's it. I hope you enjoyed our little video. See you all soon.